Well, we're here to announce another new show that's going to be on AZSE Network. And I've got Kevin Carmichael with me. How's it going, Kevin?
Doing well, Andrew. How about yourself?
Doing good, doing good. So give us a little background on kind of how you got the show started and what you guys do there at Prodigy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, for those who don't know, and Andrew, again, thank you for the time and obviously including us and me and Prodigy and our podcast. But we're an executive search firm, servicing sports entertainment, any kind of tech sports organizations, and even working across nonprofits, kind of getting a little bit into that side and on the collegiate side. So in that, obviously, given the times, and we've been, at least kind of thinking about, all right, well, we should probably develop some video content, right? Over the last year or two, how can we be a resource and extend our knowledge within the industry? Obviously working alongside key executives across many disciplines, right? Within sports and entertainment, covering all different facets, whether it's facility management, partnership sales. I mean, it ranges far and wide. So what we thought, and I think it was just perfect timing with when COVID hit, let's come out with something. Let's be a resource and be able to provide content and develop these one-on-one interviews with industry leaders, right? Thought leaders, disruptors in the industry that can help share, all of their successes or insights or new developments, and also, on the crisis management side, how can they help teach kind of what what they're learning in the industry, so that we can post it through our channel and kind of go from there. So it's something that is, yes, in the immediate sense, over the last few months, we have focused on, okay, well, how have you been adapting to COVID? What have you been doing as an organization? Virtual, offices and so forth. So that's been good. So that's kind of how we developed it. Again, it was something that we thought about for a few years, and now it was just perfect timing to come out with the content that we did.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's kind of felt that, like, myself included. It's like, COVID hit, kind of the workload kind of shifted a little bit, and it's like, well, what am I going to do to fill this time? And there's like you guys, we all talk to some interesting people on a regular basis, and why not share some of that information that they have and knowledge with everyone? So I think it's great. Now, do you guys plan to continue this as things come out of COVID as well? Kind of keep this series going?
Absolutely, and I certainly want to stay relevant to kind of emerging topics, or emerging kind of industry, like esports. I mean, for instance, we did one of our episodes with Brett Diamond, who was with Minnesota Rocker and the Call of Duty League, and he's their COO, and we want to get more involved in just the esports industry, as we all know, is just continuing to grow through COVID, right? I mean, I think it's been beneficial to their platform. So how can we focus on esports, or even sports betting, gaming, gambling, right? All that. And just share our insights with executive leaders and how that they've kind of been able to transition through COVID. But yes, to your point, we're going to continue Prodigy Search Presents through the coming years, and be able to, again, be that resource and provide the content for our listeners.
And I think it's just a good way to stay out there, in front of people. And I wish I would have discovered this sooner.
Yeah.
Because it's been great to connect with so many great people. So how often do you guys do a show? Is it a weekly thing, monthly?
Yeah, we probably, on average, about bi-weekly, so 2 a month. Early on, just given that I know workload was pretty slow for many, we did go every week. Posting, I think it's Tuesdays, maybe midweek, Tuesday, Wednesday. But we probably plan to stay with our twice a month, depending on what the pipeline looks like and the discussions that we have. But I think that's traditionally what we've done is again, once a week, if not probably closer to 1 every 2 weeks.
And is it you kind of hosting the show every week, or is it kind of rotate throughout the office there?
Yeah, so primarily it's our founder and CEO, Scott Carmichael, who's handling majority of them, along with Mark Gress, who's a partner here at Prodigy Search. So Mark and Scott have been handling all of them to date so far. Moving forward, certainly want to get some of us others involved in the one-on-one discussions, but also even moving forward, you talked about, are we going to continue to do this? And we thought about it internally. Maybe it could be something along the lines of, us giving a 10-minute kind of, our best practices on resume tips or what to do during an interview, because obviously we're in the industry, again, wanting to provide as much feedback, and direction and insights to the world out there, because we're living in it every day on the recruiting side and hiring. So maybe it's something like that where we do individual, not necessarily one-on-one.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, I think a lot of things will probably change with just your processes, I would think, a little bit because of, how COVID has been, and, maybe more, I mean, Zoom and Skype and everything else seems to be getting more and more popular. And I know Mark had said before that, some companies are hiring off of those platforms as opposed to bringing them in right now.
Right. No, it's been very interesting, and some of the clients that we've worked with, through COVID and the hiring that they've made through COVID. I mean, we're working with the Denver Broncos, and recently had placed their head of ticketing, the VP of ticketing, and we started the search in February, and when all this hit, Matt Freeman, the chief commercial officer, said, "I'm not sure if I'm comfortable in making a hire based not meeting the person, and ultimately they ended up making the hire off of Zoom, and then transition from there." But to your point, I mean, it's everything is so new, and companies are hiring based on Zoom interviews, and obviously reference checks and so forth. All the normal side of things, but it's everything's changing. So,
well, talk about on your show, you need to kind of tell the other recruiters out there to have better communication with job seekers. I will say, and I told this to Mark, you guys, are top notch, and I've never gotten a position through you guys, but I've talked to you guys on several occasions, and always 100% have communicated and kind of, you're not in the dark, which is probably the most frustrating thing for people. When I see people on LinkedIn all the time, it's like, can't even get a no, just tell me no.
Right.
So I think you guys do a good job. Spread that word.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's we've got a great team here, and start from the top down, and it's again, the transparency and what we bring in the process with our clients, but also want to make sure the candidates are informed, and we want to keep them informed, because I mean, we understand how it is when you are in the dark and not knowing what any part of the process is. So I mean, this is again just another way for us to keep in touch with the strong leaders out there in the industry. So
the show is Prodigy Presents.
Prodigy Search Presents. Yep.
Okay. Prodigy Search Presents. And what's kind of been your favorite episode so far?
I think, I mean, there's definitely been a few, but our first episode, which again, given the timing, we had interviewed or spoke with Frank Sapovitz, who senior level events executive formerly with the NFL and the NHL, and you wrote a book, What to Do When Things Go Wrong, and that was just, again, the timing of everything and crisis management, right? And I think that was one of our main focuses through the early months of COVID. And he shared even the time where I think it was the 49ers were in the Super Bowl and the blackout that happened. And he kind of went through start to finish of what had happened internally. And it's just very, it kind of opens up behind the scenes a little bit, which is kind of cool to understand just how things operate. And then it's just more of the motivational side of it, right? how to react to when things go wrong, and being prepared, I think, is one of the biggest things. But I mean, there was that one. Maybe more recently, we had interviewed a woman, Jerice Cologne, who is the executive or CEO for the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, which is actually a current client of ours right now.
Okay.
And she talks about it's a nonprofit organization. They've been in existence for about 3 years, and they've grown since those 3 years to where they are right now, working with all of the U.S. Olympic NGBs as it relates to fighting and reducing the amount of sexual abuse cases, and just the overall safety within Olympic sport. But I think they're going to continue to grow into other sports as well, or not other sports, but maybe NCAA or
Right.
others, right? And continue to train and certify and do the necessary things in investigating on some of these cases, which is extremely important, especially during the times where we are right now, kind of in this crazy world. So that one was pretty interesting as well. But many interesting episodes, again, from esports to senior execs that are on the facility side. Even we had interviewed Tim Wise, Timothy Wise, who is the associate AD at the University of Miami. And this was a recent episode, and he talks about when he got the call. I think it was during a baseball game, saying, "Hey, what's our stock like on hand sanitizers and and Clorox wipes or whatever?" And he's just like, "I'll make sure." And then obviously everything hit in March, and he even talked a little bit about just his experience getting things back up. I mean, as we all know, right? College sports is something that is, I mean, among all the other leagues. But
Yeah.
I think someone like him, given his perspectives on what he's done in his career and a few other colleges, universities, and then what he's doing right now in Miami, pretty interesting. So just a few, again, about 14 right now, current, that we have live.
So it's kind of a nice broad, topics. It's not just relating to, search and recruiting and things like that.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, and there are, again, we want to stay relevant with the industry trends and what's going on in our society. I mean, episode that I did leave out, we actually did a live panel discussion. So all of our interviews or our episodes are recorded, pre-recorded, of course. With this one, we did record a live discussion. I think we had about maybe 300 or 400 viewers at the live panel discussion with the executive producer of Willie, the documentary about Willie O'Ree, the first Black hockey player in the NHL. And it was, just the right time to have Anson Carter, who was a former NHL player. He's now with NBC and does commentary. And then we also had Wayne Simmons, who's a current NHL player for, I believe, the Philadelphia Flyers, or maybe actually Buffalo. I apologize, it's in Buffalo. But, he is part of the Hockey Diversity Alliance, so having him on the panel as well with what they're doing, and it's just, again, staying relevant. So, yes, to your point on, it's not just, recruiting, tips or how organizations are, dealing with COVID. I mean, I think moving forward, it's just going to be relevant topics and how we can continue to be a platform for explaining that.
No, that's great. That's great. Well, Kevin, thanks for joining me. We'll make sure that all the links are in the description to check out the show. And then on the website, AZSEnetwork.com, everything will be up there as well. It's up there now under shows. So looking forward to catching the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Andrew. I appreciate it.